This is a story about youthful naivete colliding headfirst with the ancient, the unknown. It's a classic horror trope, yes, but one that still chills. Teenagers meddling with forces they cannot possibly comprehend. At the heart of this tale lies a central, terrifying element, the Ojuju board. Think of it as a Ouija board, but rooted in something far older, far more specific. This board draws its power from Nigerian folklore, a place where spirits and entities hold potent, often malevolent power. The Ojuju itself represents not just a spirit, but a particularly unsettling, malevolent entity. Its nature adds a layer of cultural specificity, hinting at deep, unsettling origins that predate the teenager's world by centuries. This isn't just a game, it's a doorway to something ancient and hungry. Our story centers on a group of teenagers, bound by the fierce, often fragile ties of best friendship. Like many their age, they were fueled by an insatiable curiosity and a desperate thirst for excitement, anything to break the mundane rhythm of their lives. It was this shared desire that led them to the Ojuju board. They stumbled upon it unexpectedly. Perhaps it was in the dusty, forgotten corner of an abandoned house they dared to explore, or maybe hidden away in a grandparent's attic, a relic of a past best left undisturbed. The board's mysterious allure was immediate, drawing them in with its strange symbols and aged wood. Their first session began with playful skepticism, a few nervous giggles masking their apprehension. The early atmosphere was thick with the thrill of the unknown, a sense of daring the universe to prove them wrong. Their initial questions were lighthearted, typical teenage fare about crushes, futures, or trivial secrets. But as the game progressed, a subtle, then undeniable shift occurred. The atmosphere in the room began to change, growing heavy and cold despite the summer night outside. The board's responses, at first hesitant, became increasingly cryptic, the planchette moving with a strange, deliberate speed. Then the answers turned unsettling, personal, digging into fears and secrets they hadn't spoken aloud. A new kind of fear, cold and real, began to creep in. The board itself seemed to possess a life of its own, the planchette sliding across the surface with no one seemingly pushing it. The room grew noticeably colder, the air thick and still. Inexplicable events began to punctuate their sessions and even their time away from the board. Objects moved, whispers seemed to echo from empty corners, and shadows danced just outside their vision. The entity they had unknowingly summoned, the Ojuju, began to exert its influence beyond the board. Sleep offered no escape. The teenagers were plagued by vivid, terrifying nightmares and waking hallucinations that blurred the lines of reality. A growing sense of pervasive dread took hold, a constant heavy weight in their chests. The pressure of the unseen presence began to fray their relationships. Paranoia and suspicion crept in, turning friends against each other as they questioned who might be lying or who the entity was targeting. The Ojuju seemed to exploit their individual vulnerabilities and deepest fears, twisting them into weapons. Underneath the horror, the story became an exploration of friendship and trust under unimaginable pressure. It highlighted the terrifying consequences of meddling with unknown forces, a cautionary tale unfolding in real time. As the horror intensified, becoming an undeniable part of their lives, it forced them to confront the terrifying reality of their situation. Playful curiosity had given way to desperate fear. They knew they had to understand what they were facing. Their only hope seemed to lie in research, a desperate attempt to uncover the Ojuju's origins and, more importantly, find a way to stop it. Their path led them unexpectedly into the depths of Nigerian folklore, a world rich with spirits, warnings, and ancient knowledge. They delved into old texts, online forums, and hushed local legends, uncovering ancient rituals, powerful warnings against summoning such entities, and fragmented accounts of past encounters. The knowledge they gained was terrifying but offered a glimmer of possibility. It became clear they needed guidance, someone who understood the Ojuju's power and the immense dangers involved. This search potentially led them to a wise elder or a spiritual guide, someone steeped in the very folklore the Ojuju sprang from. This helper, if they could find one willing, would be their only link to understanding the entity and finding a way to confront it. The escalating horror demanded a confrontation, a desperate attempt to banish the Ojuju back to wherever it came from. This built towards a terrifying climax, likely involving a ritualistic confrontation, perhaps in the very place they found the board or where its influence was strongest. To succeed, the teenagers had to overcome their individual fears, which the Ojuju had so expertly exploited. More than that, they had to work together, their fractured trust needing to be reforged in the face of ultimate terror. Their survival depended on their unity. The outcome of such a confrontation could take many forms: a hard-won victory, a narrow escape leaving scars both seen and unseen, or perhaps a tragic sacrifice. Regardless of the immediate result, the ending would leave a lingering sense of unease. The experience would forever mark them. It would serve as a chilling reminder, a lesson etched in fear. Some doors, no matter how tempting their mystery, are best left unopened. The power of this story lies in its ability to build suspense effectively, drawing the audience deeper into the dread with each passing moment. It relies on the creation of believable characters, teenagers whose fear and reactions feel authentic and relatable. Crucially, it taps into the primal fear of the unknown, the terror of facing something ancient, powerful, and utterly alien. The incorporation of unique cultural elements, specifically the Ojuju and its roots in Nigerian folklore, adds depth and a fresh layer of terror to the familiar trope. Don't forget to subscribe.